Hey everyone, we all love a good grocery run, right? But lately, there's been some unsettling news about the safety of our food. It turns out that not all grocery stores are created equal when it comes to food safety. We're talking contaminated food, bacteria outbreaks, and those recall alerts that just make your stomach churn. Get ready to uncover the 8 grocery chains with the most red flags when it comes to food safety. Let's do this. Alright, let's kick things off with a big one, Walmart. It's convenient, it's got everything you could ever need, and those low prices are hard to resist. But when it comes to food safety, Walmart has a bit of a track record, and not in a good way. We're talking frequent recalls on a whole bunch of their products, produce, poultry, those pre-packaged salads that always look so tempting. Over the years, Walmart has been linked to multiple outbreaks of some pretty nasty stuff like Salmonella and E. coli. The sheer number of incidents is definitely cause for concern. It really makes you wonder about their food safety practices and how rigorously they're monitoring their suppliers. Your gut, literally, will thank you for it. Next up, we're heading over to Kroger, another grocery giant that's a staple for many American families. But when it comes to their meat and seafood department, things start to get a little fishy. Pun intended. There have been several cases of tainted meat and questionable seafood practices linked to Kroger stores across the country. One of the biggest issues that keeps popping up with Kroger is the lack of transparency in their supply chain. They're not always upfront about where their meat and seafood is coming from, which makes it really difficult for shoppers to make informed decisions. Look, I get it, we all love a good seafood feast or a juicy steak every now and then. But when you're shopping at Kroger, it's more important than ever to be extra cautious. You have the right to know what you're buying. Alright, let's talk Aldi. Now, Aldi has built a reputation for being the ultimate destination for bargain hunters. But when it comes to their fresh produce, there's a hidden cost that might make you think twice before filling up your cart. We're talking pesticides, people. Independent tests have consistently found higher levels of pesticide residues in Aldi's produce compared to some of its competitors. Now, I understand that pesticides are a common practice in conventional agriculture. So, what's a savvy shopper to do? Opt for fruits and vegetables with thicker skins that are less likely to absorb pesticides. And of course, washing your produce thoroughly before consuming it is an absolute must. Hold on to your reusable grocery bags, folks, because this next one might come as a shock. We're talking about Whole Foods, the holy grail of organic, healthy living. Despite its reputation for all things natural and wholesome, Whole Foods has had its fair share of recalls over the years. We're talking about recalls on some of their most popular organic products, including nut butters, fresh greens, and even those pre-packaged salads. The problem is, just because something is labeled organic, it doesn't automatically make it immune to contamination. So, even if you're shelling out the big bucks for organic groceries at Whole Foods, it's important to remember that vigilance is key. After all, you're not just paying for the food, you're paying for the peace of mind that comes with knowing it's safe to eat. Alright, let's be real. Who doesn't love a good Trader Joe's run? Their quirky snacks, their affordable wines, those friendly employees. But even in this land of delicious discoveries, there are some hidden dangers lurking in the frozen food aisle and on those shelves stocked with tempting packaged goodies. Trader Joe's has had to issue some pretty major recalls on these types of products in recent years, and the culprits are not pretty. We're talking Listeria, Salmonella, the kind of bacteria that can turn a fun snack break into a nightmare of stomach cramps and fever. The problem is, these contaminants are often hidden within the food itself, so you can't always tell just by looking at the package. So, how do you protect yourself from these hidden dangers? Be extra cautious with frozen meals and packaged foods that contain meat, poultry, or seafood. And always, always, always heat your food to the recommended temperature to kill off any potential bacteria. Alright, Costco lovers, this one's for you. We all know the drill at Costco. Giant shopping carts, those free samples that somehow always taste amazing, and the irresistible urge to buy everything in bulk. But here's the thing about bulk buying. It comes with a hidden risk. When you're buying those massive tubs of yogurt, those industrial-sized packages of ground beef, or those mountains of baked goods, you're essentially putting all your eggs in one basket. And if that basket happens to be contaminated, well, let's just say you're going to have a lot of explaining to do at your next family reunion. Costco has had its fair share of bulk food recalls over the years, affecting everything from dairy products to bakery items to those giant packages of meat. So, how do you navigate the land of bulk buying without putting your health at risk? Be realistic about your consumption habits, and if you do end up with a surplus of something, consider freezing it to extend its shelf life. Next up, we're heading down south to Publix, the beloved grocery chain known for its friendly service and those delicious pub subs. But even in this land of southern hospitality, there have been some concerning incidents involving the quality and safety of their meat and seafood. We're talking about E. coli outbreaks linked to their ground beef, salmonella concerns with their poultry, and even reports of mislabeled seafood. Publix has had a higher than average number of incidents in recent years, which raises some red flags about their food handling practices and the rigor of their supplier vetting process. One of the biggest concerns with Publix is their reliance on factory farms, where animals are often raised in cramped and unsanitary conditions. And when it comes to seafood, transparency is key, and Publix hasn't always been forthcoming about the origins of their fish and shellfish. So, what's a savvy shopper to do? Talk to the folks behind the meat and seafood counter. And if something doesn't seem right, trust your gut and shop elsewhere. Last but not least, we're heading over to Safeway, a grocery chain that's been a staple in many communities for decades. But even at this familiar neighborhood market, there have been some unsettling incidents involving the safety of their deli and produce sections. We're talking about listeria contamination in their pre-packaged salads, salmonella outbreaks linked to their deli meats, and even reports of moldy fruit making its way onto the shelves. The presence of mold, even if it's just on a few pieces of fruit, can indicate larger issues with food storage and handling practices. One of the biggest challenges for grocery stores like Safeway is maintaining consistent food safety standards across all their locations, and when it comes to deli meats and pre-packaged salads, the risk of cross-contamination is high, especially if employees aren't following proper food handling protocols. So, how can you protect yourself from these deli and produce pitfalls? Be extra vigilant when inspecting pre-packaged salads and deli meats, and when in doubt, throw it out. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in. It can feel overwhelming to think about all the ways our food can be compromised even at the grocery stores we trust. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. By being aware of the potential risks and taking some simple precautions, we can significantly reduce our chances of ending up with a foodborne illness. So, what can you do? First and foremost, wash your hands thoroughly before and after handling food. Next, wash all fruits and vegetables thoroughly under running water before eating them, even if you plan on peeling them. And when it comes to meat and poultry, cook it to the recommended internal temperature to kill off any harmful bacteria. Pay attention to food recalls, ask questions at the grocery store, and don't be afraid to speak up if you see something that doesn't look right. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay healthy. Until next time, happy and safe eating.